Morning,
All right.
Bill.
How are you?
Good. I was at church yesterday, and one of my buddies goes, "Can you tell me again what Bill means? I don't. I'm not sure." And I go, "It's okay. No one knows. It's an inside joke that no one. It takes too
Yes.
long. Yeah.
Yes, that is true.
So
I'm
it's
also
a
having those
brother-in-law
same
joke.
conversations. Yeah.
My
What it
brother-in-law? I'm like, sure, whatever.
yeah. Somebody, hey, I went to go look for this thing, but I couldn't find it. And it's like, okay, did you type in two L's? Oh, of course I did. It's Bill. Yeah, I know. We only have one L.
Yeah, we did
Um,
a horrible job branding ourselves.
yeah,
Yeah.
we just decided to make it very hard on ourselves, didn't we? Um, welcome to
Yeah.
the show, everybody.
Hey, welcome to Morning Bill with one L.
Morning Bill with one L. It's not tied to
Yeah.
anything else that we're working on or building. Like it is just like this island.
It's an acronym that's up to you to figure out.
Absolutely.
Mystery is our brand.
That's right. Ooh, it's authentic and leveraged and scarce. You can't wait to buy it.
Yes,
Um,
that's what we were going for.
man, yeah, I'm having some of those conversations as well. That's interesting. What happened on Friday, man? Just your alarm just didn't wake up?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I'm onboarding for a new job, so I'm
Yes.
cramming. So I am definitely
Mhm.
tired. My brain is tired, and then
Mhm.
I also started back and upped my workout game. I've been working
Oh.
out 3 days a week, and it's
Mhm.
been good. But I was like, you know what? I have more in the tank. I can. So I went to 5 last week,
Okay.
went from 3 to 5. Perfect storm is the answer. Perfect storm. And then
Heard.
I had switched out my alarm the way it works. I'd switched to different alarm style and stuff. And I
Okay.
think just in my rubbing my eyes at night, pressed the wrong button for wrong alarm, and
Oh
so
wow.
one of those. But
All
I'm all set
good, man.
now.
Good.
Yeah, I was up at like 6:15 this morning. Like, okay,
Yeah.
we're giving a show.
You're here this early.
Yeah.
You're like the Mervin's commercial. Open, open, open,
Oh
open.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Well, the
long
good
time
news
ago.
is I got to watch it. So I watched the show on Friday because I was up so early, ready,
Man, he
and
killed
it
it.
was good.
He knows his stuff. He knows his
Yeah.
stuff. He's super savvy, gets it, and what I love is like you get that salesperson energy from him. You get that kind of like, oh man, we're just gonna go do this. But he also has all the backside knowledge.
Yeah.
He understands like the psychology of things and stuff like this. It's very very interesting. Let's see. Good
Good
morning,
morning, Michelle.
Michelle.
How's it going?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see what's going on here. How are you guys
Doing Disney
done any
shows.
Disney shows?
I don't know. Maybe it's our morning bill. I don't know. Tell us more. What do you mean? Are we doing Disney shows,
Maybe, yeah, I don't
or is
know.
it our faces, our animated faces? If you think we should be on Disney, maybe that's it.
I I'm willing to bet that's not it.
No, no, no.
I'm willing to bet on the other side of that.
Yeah.
So how was the weekend, man? You doing anything good, exciting?
Took the kids to camp, and my car died halfway
Oh,
there. So
oh no.
I actually had to phone a friend and take us the rest of the way to camp out in East Texas,
Oh,
and took me home. And this was about 3 o'clock yesterday, so that was really
mhm.
nice too. It was 106, breaking a car on the side of the road, but we made it into a gas station, got a call, but my tow didn't show up till about 20 minutes ago.
What?
Yeah, so it is in tow right now to the
Wow.
yeah. So we're
Good.
crossing our fingers, hoping for just something small. Old car overheated. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it
Is
was
this
an
the
interesting.
Lex?
Yeah, it was the Lex. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a bummer because you found that
Yeah.
car and yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, it was a steal, and I've had it for over 2 years. Cash car. It's been really good to me. So
Yeah.
this is her first big, you know, shot in the
I mean,
relationship.
matter of time, right? Like it's going to happen.
Yeah,
That's interesting. Bummer, dude.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what? Talk about the worst timing ever. Like, you're not going to like the grocery store to pick up some groceries. You're taking your kids to East Texas.
The camp, which my son goes to Colorado because he's 16, so he's part of the older camp, and
Hmm.
they actually leave on a bus from East Texas to Colorado. So if I had not have made it there, he would have missed the trip.
Oh, yeah,
So I was a little anxious.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow,
But you
man,
know what?
that's
It all
nuts.
worked out. The car's in tow right now. Everybody's in one piece, so we're good.
Man, okay. Well, I'm glad everybody's okay. I've not had one of those things where like the car breaks down in quite some time, man. I don't even know
Me
how I
either.
would handle that. Oh,
Me either. Me either. Luckily, we were very close to a QT, so it was a almost a glide-in situation. I didn't have to push it super far.
yeah, man.
So, yep,
Interesting.
we're good.
Poof.
We're good.
I hope
What
that that
about
is
you?
a very inexpensive fix for you. I hope that's like, hey, we just needed to flush the radiator or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
so I'm
new
not
battery. We just popped a new battery and we're good to go. Go with that. Especially because I
um,
just got a new battery about 6 months ago, so it should be under warranty. So I hope if
yeah.
that's the case, it's free.
Yes. I don't know that temperature is mapping to like a battery issue,
No, I
but okay.
know, I
Okay,
know, I
cool.
know.
I didn't know if you said that like in pure hope or if you were like actually thinking that that might be something and I'm like, Jake,
Yeah, it wouldn't start. So no,
okay, yeah.
I could map the whole thing for you. Like John knows, I'm actually in the cars pretty well. So
Yeah.
that was for the
um,
audience. That's what that was for.
so let's see. I did nothing over the weekend and it was glorious as it always is. Went over and hung out with Dan yesterday. Dan is the entrepreneur who designed my book cover. He was a client of mine. We 5x'd his goal whenever we worked together, and I
Yeah.
was coaching him and stuff. And he's now moved down here. He was up living in Michigan doing his thing. His thing was,
Okay.
I want to be out of Michigan. I want to move to Fort Worth. So we need enough money for that to happen. I said, cool, write it down. Let's go get it. He
Okay.
smashes the goal. He now lives down here, and as you know, it's lonely when you're building something, right? It can be if you don't have just lots of community around you. And so
Oh yeah.
hung out with him yesterday and we were just kind of talking about the differences between being like a marketing led organization, being a sales led organization, right? Especially if you don't want to do the whole journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
For Dan specifically, he creates video for people and that's the thing that he wants to do, but he doesn't want to be the hands-on shooter for people. Like he wants to talk about the strategy and stuff like this and how you can get much more from your video if you're thoughtful when you create it. And the editing process is also easier if you start here on with creative insights, right? Just like selling intentionally, be intentional, have a plan, everything works out better.
Okay.
But he's tired of being the person who shoots the video for people. And he also doesn't really love editing other people's stuff at this point because there's all kinds of scope creep and everything else. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, man, like if you don't provide the total solution from one side to the other, you have an incomplete bridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
With a
Mm-hmm.
river in the middle of it. And that's okay. But if you want to make it easy, you have to complete the bridge. If you don't want to complete the bridge in the form of like editing and the other stuff, that's when you need a salesperson to go out and look for those people who are dealing with. I have part of the bridge. I have the first two steps. I just need the rest. I need the strategy. I need like that is a different sell completely. And it's harder to do in a marketing format, in my opinion, than being like,
Agree.
cool, we're going to help you do the whole video thing. We're talking about how to look and sound good. We're going to talk about how you edit. We're going to talk about the platforms. And then we're also going to talk about your story development and everything. And so we were talking about that selling strategy is very different than selling the whole thing to people. And it was a very interesting conversation.
100%. 100%. That's bane of my existence since I'm a strategy guy. For a long
Mhm.
time, I'd struggled with that. And Jake Brown, which I think you know Jake Brown. I can't remember, but he also had an analogy like that. You're trying to cross a river, and you've got these big old rocks that you're trying to sell, but you can't leap from rock to rock. You need the little bitty stones in between. They're kind of the steps between. And if you're not willing to give them the little steps, then you got to either bring in someone else who can, or you got to
You're going to
yeah,
have to sift so much
supply
harder.
something, a
Yeah.
system. If it's not you, so I think that's a big aha for a lot of people who, because I feel like a lot of people become entrepreneurs since COVID too,
Mhm.
is people want solutions. They don't want
Yes.
services.
Yep. And
Yeah.
that, like, if certain people, I found this in myself and I found this in other people, the more reserved you are, your personality wise,
Mm-hmm.
the more you want to make it about the work that you do and not about the outcomes that you produce, right? But both of these things are super important to talk about. Like, hey, here's how we get you here. Do you want to hear about it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sales conversation.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get there? Is that sales conversation, Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was interesting, like because you just have to put in so much effort just shaking that thing to get the dirt in the water and to see if there's gold left. You're gonna do
Right.
so much more of this, which is a sales function, as opposed to taking someone from the place to where they don't even know that video can be used in their marketing, and you help them understand how it can be used, and then you take them on the whole thing. It's an end-to-end journey. It's
Exactly.
easier to sell and package than it is for other
Exactly.
people.
Exactly. So and for sure. And hey Dean, what's going on, man? So I actually got to spend some time with Dean on Friday. He got certified in the Working Genius platform.
Very
And
cool.
yeah, he took a group of us through Working Genius, and then he mapped all our strengths on top of each other. So to play like we were a team, to see where we would have gaps, and just kind of get a better feel and understanding, self awareness for how I would fit in their team and how they would. And
Love that.
yeah, so it was great. So great job, Dean. And if you're looking at Working Genius, just go check him out. Stuff he's
Interesting.
doing right now. So
Is that the
yeah.
assessment you told me to take?
Yeah, it's the Patrick Lencioni one.
That's right.
Table group. And
Okay.
yeah, it's fantastic. It's
Cool. I'm
and
excited
you
to
and
check
I are
that out.
both geeks about that sort of stuff, and
For
it's
sure.
like every other one. It's a little bit different take on, it's not a strengths test, it's not a disc test, it's a how you work test. Now, of course, your strengths fit into that for sure, but it's
Sure.
very much aimed at here's a part of the work process you are particularly really good at. You're a genius in this area, and you're not in this area.
Yeah. I took one once that showed you where you were strong, but it also showed you what happened when you were stressed out to that thing, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
being being deep focused, right? I'm like at an 80, but a fracture point is down to like 40, right? So if I have all my wits around me, right, and
Okay.
I'm in the right mindset, I can focus on these long-term tasks for forever. But
Yeah.
stress takes about half of it away. And what was really interesting is to look at it and see the stuff to where like I lost most of my ability, like empathy, right? When I get stressed out, I lose my ability to be empathetic and I can't really think about pain points or anything else. And I just tend to spiral. Oh, I have to tell you a story that happened to me yesterday.
Okay.
Okay. I
It's like,
was
wow, this
thinking
story's
about I
good.
like this happened to me yesterday, and I was like, how do I tell this story? How do I tell this story? Because like I was trying to think of a way to like write it, but I'm just going to talk about it here because we have this show. Okay.
Yeah, share as a clip.
So
Go.
Dan lives up in North Fort Worth, and we used to live up in North Fort Worth. And there's this little bitty restaurant up there called Piata, and they're like an Italian version of Freebirds, right? So you get like these
Ooh.
burritos, counter service. It's amazing, and it's one of the few restaurants that we've missed since moving away from that area. So I knew I was going to go over to Dan's. I told Melissa, I said, "Hey, do you want Piata?" And she was like, almost broke her neck nodding about this thing. I'm like, "All right, cool."
All right.
So I'm in Piata now. This is a moment to where if I was a salesperson in this industry, I would be so excited. But just because I'm a sales nerd, I got excited anyway. But I have a friend. She's not watching this, but I should tag her in the replay. Her name is Tara, and she sells these point of sale systems. Now, if you don't know, a point of sale is the thing that they ring you up on at all these like fast casual restaurants, and they have specific tools and software systems for restaurants, right? And this is big industry because
Oh yeah.
there's all these different things, and it's highly
Tons of it.
competitive. So we're in this place yesterday. The line is around the thing, right? There's probably 6 or 7 people in line, and this guy walks in from the side, and he was like, "Yeah, I got to talk to a manager," right? So the line is all like immediately stops and is in chaos, right? And the way that Piata works is their operating manager is a chef. So this guy's wearing the white jacket. He's like checking noodles, he's doing stuff in the back. He comes up, he's like, "Yeah, how can I help you?" The guy was like, "Yeah, I picked up one dinner, which should be like $12, and I got charged $50. We need to fix that."
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Absolutely. And so he's doing his thing, really great service. And he says to the guy, and he goes, "What was the dollar amount?" And the guy was like, "I don't actually know. My wife just like screenshot the bank thing and sent it over to me and said, 'Hey, go fix this since you're like still in the area. I don't have it.'" And the guy was like, "Okay, cool. Well, let's just pull it up on your phone." And the guy goes, "My phone just died." And it did, because like I'm standing right there. I'm the next person to check out. So I'm like, okay, this is really interesting. So what is this guy going to do? Right? Because like this is like a really interesting like customer service moment. How does this person handle
Yeah.
this thing? Make sure the person is happy, they get an outcome and everything else. And so this guy is searching through some part of the thing trying to find this transaction so that way he can find it, but he can only search by the dollar amount. This guy who just wants this thing fixed would love for him to be able to search by the last 4 of his credit card number, maybe his last name, maybe something else like this, but this guy can only search by the dollar amount. So essentially this guy is screwed. Okay, so
Yeah.
the guy looks up, he sees the line, and he goes, "Look, can we write down your name and your number? I'll call you as soon as this rush is over, and I will be able to come in here and we can find the transaction. I can make this right." And the guy says, "Sure," and everything is great.
Mhm.
But here's the thing: if I'm a salesperson for that industry, I now have a pain point,
Oh yeah.
right?
For
Hey,
sure.
I'm curious, Mr. Restaurant owner. Do you ever have one of those moments where it's very hard to find a transaction that was a mistake, so that way it's easy to clean up when you're super busy, or is it very manual? Oh, it's very manual. Interesting. Can you tell me more?
Right.
Right
Yeah.
then and right there, just by being there and listening and being thoughtful about it, this person is now aware that he would love to be able to search with different kinds of entries, credit card number, person's last name, to find this transaction. So there's a pain point there because he just experienced it. So if I'm a sales rep in that industry, I'm calling everybody that I know. If I can search by additional formats and not just the exact dollar amount, and
Yep.
having that conversation with my clients.
And that's where actually having content out there, comparison content is great for that, right? Because when people get ready to go find it, they'll remember that that's an issue that they had, and they'll type that in Google or wherever,
Mhm.
right? And if that's not a piece of content somewhere on your website, whether it's a comparison chart or a blog that you did
Yes.
about features or something, you won't show up. And guess what? Somebody else gets the business probably.
Yeah.
So that's where that bridge is what we're talking about earlier, just in a different way from sales to marketing is, okay, I heard it. We need to go write something on it. It's time.
Exactly, right? And so then the marketing would be like, get your end-to-end point of sale service that takes care of your customers. This is great. This is great. But your salespeople are out there looking for people who have these very specific kind of problematic problems, indicating that they're going to be a really great fit, right? So I'd be calling everybody today if I was working
Mhm.
for Toast or one of these, companies, and being like, "Hey, how hard is it for you to find a transaction if you need
Right.
to adjust it in the middle of a rush?"
Right. Yep.
Oh,
Or
really
what's cool
hard.
is you could do this too. You could pick up your phone and you could shoot a quick 30-second video about a couple different POS systems you have that handle that feature, and drop it on your blog, drop it
Oh
on your
yeah.
social media, drop it on a blog, a web page, and then you're
Yep.
done. And then you're
And
done.
then you're done. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
I
That's great.
I just thought that was a very cool, interesting moment that shows up as a customer service moment. Like right then and right there, everyone is just thinking about like, okay, like let's just get this customer taken care of and out of the way. However, there's the sales functionality thing that's missing there because it
Yeah.
took longer than it needed to, and the person didn't get to leave with the closure they were looking for. That's a
Yeah.
sales opportunity. It's a service opportunity.
Yeah. And as I'm thinking of it too, because I'm a nerd like you, I'm going, his POS may actually have had that feature. He just never learned how to do it. So have you been trained on your POS? Guess
Yep.
what? We train you. And we even help you set it up.
Absolutely. Right. Dude, I love that because then if you're just like, look, we don't sell Toast or these point of sale systems. We just make sure that your team is able to do everything that they need to do. So we have a handbook and an assessment and a guide. So that way your whole team is ready to go with this stuff. Would
Yeah.
that be something of interest for you? Like,
Exactly.
so then right there, you're creating like outside of the main thing, just additional value.
Yeah, I
So,
actually have a client who's in the exact same industry, and they're actually agnostic. They don't care what tech you use because that's their approach. They're like, we're just
hmm,
going to pick whichever stuff you need, but we're going to make
mhm,
sure you are fully equipped with exactly, and we're actually going to tell you the things that you're going to run into that you probably don't know. We're going to train your
yeah,
team around it and all that. So yeah, it's great.
yeah. I'm so glad that we got that out. I love that. We need
Yeah.
to do something with that. I thought that was cool because like, man, like that is everything. You can be like, oh man.
Well, weren't we talking last week about how do you find content? Like, I'm looking for content. I'm looking for content. How do you know?
I think we
Content's
were
everywhere,
lamenting
my friends.
that
Yeah.
we're both like nutcases in the form that we can't like shut off seeing
We
content.
can't turn it off.
Can't
It's
turn it
everywhere.
off.
Yeah. The
All
stream
right.
tornado has arrived.
The stream tornado has arrived. Oh, he
Everyone
has
batten down the
arrived.
hatches.
Stream tornado. But batten down hatches. I like it. I like
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not too early
Okay.
for one of those jokes. That's for sure.
Nah, it's never too early. For dad jokes.
All right. What do you got this
What
week?
I was gonna say, what we doing this week? I'm
Yes.
doing a whole lot of. Speaking of seeing things from customers' eyes, I'm actually going through the onboarding content process as a customer this week.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I'm literally going to consume all the content our content clients consume, and I'm
Nice.
looking for holes. So I'm going to audit that.
Yeah, that's what I have up here. Audit customer view.
Yep. Yep, and we've got 4 views. So the customer view is the one I'll do this week for sure, and I probably get started on the video one as well.
Nice, interesting, very cool. Yeah, is that should that be mostly this week? Is it a lot
Yeah,
to
no,
go through?
that'll be my Friday. It'll be like my bet. Like I'll have to get through all that content.
Okay, and it's a
Otherwise,
fair amount.
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
But it's my whole week.
Let's see here real quick. Good stuff, guys. Makes me think about customer service in a different perspective. Man, it's like there's a guy named Chris Handy who's a content marketer. And he told me this thing once from a content marketing perspective, and it informs a lot about how I think about improving your sales process. He goes, if somebody asks you the question more than once, it should be content that lives on your blog, on your FAQ, or somewhere on your site. And when he said that to me, I started to think about content differently. I started to think about it as like as a time saving measure inside of my business, as opposed to, okay, well, here's this thing again. Here's this thing again. Here's a link. Here's a link. Here's a link. If this doesn't help you, let me know, because then you really need one-to-one help. But start here. Blew my mind, right? And so from a sales perspective, we think of the same thing. If you lose a deal to the same thing twice, it better be a question you're asking about earlier next time. So if you get to the finish line and they're like, this all looks and sounds amazing, John, but I thought it was $200 and not $2,000. Oh, okay. How'd you come to that decision? Could you tell me more about that? Yada, yada, yada. If it happens again, you need to start asking questions about it. Hey, Jake, a lot of times when I talk to people, they think this is like a $200 thing. It's oftentimes a little bit more than that. How do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to getting to the end and waiting and having to deal with it then.
Yeah, there's actually a video. I can't remember who coined the phrase, but it's called the 80% video. And it's 80% of the questions you are normally asked on your first sales call.
Yes.
Is there any reason you couldn't just put a video together, or more than one, that says, here's all the things people normally ask when we first get on the phone, but I want you to know what you're getting into, so let's go.
Yeah.
And that is such a good tool for your sales team as well, because it pre-filters in a really strong way.
Yep.
All the garbage. I do the filtering the salesperson's going to do for sure, but it will get a lot better lead source in.
Yes.
And sales team appreciates that for sure.
What's crazy about this is that it's meant to filter. It's meant to be like, hey, if you know what you're getting into past this point, you sure this is what you're looking for, right?
Exactly.
And everyone is like, yeah, but I want everyone who hits that to like take. No, you don't. You don't, because like the next step is involving a human, a salesperson who you have expectations about how they're spending their time and what they're able to deliver. And if they are being the person who has to comb through all of these people, are you qualified? Are you not? Are you a good fit? Are you not? Versus having one stage earlier, hey, here are the reasons why people decide not right now, or why it's not a great fit. Before our call, can you take a look at these and see if any of them apply? Do you still want to have the call? Like, it is so much more meaningful if they exit that period of friction still being with you from a psychological standpoint, right? But everyone just wants as much as they can possibly get, which is part of the problem.
I think the only reason that it might be worthwhile is if you don't know all those points that we were talking about earlier of pain. Is then get everyone on planet Earth to call you or fill out your form, and then ask those questions, so that you can create content that will then filter them out in the future.
Yes, absolutely. Right. And if you don't know anything, because it's like a new industry, like I'm dealing with this right now. I have a client and they provide agency level ad accounts, which is a different kind of ad account on these different platforms. And I've only heard from the owner and his team what amazing products these things are. Right. And so as with any project, I need to go hear it from someone who's not the owner, because they're obviously so in love with their own thing, just like I'm in love with my own thing. So I reached out to my network, and I happen to have some media buyers, and I'm like, hey, these guys have this thing. I would love 15 minutes of your time, because we're friends, to see how this shows up in your world as a professional media buyer, blah, 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 blah. And he, sure, John, absolutely, whatever you need. Cool. Right. So I now get to go talk to someone who's in this industry, would use this tool, ask them the questions, get that real-time feedback. And I'm going to build my questions off of that interaction, not the interaction with the owner. Have to.
Yep, absolutely. Right. Yeah. Best practice all day.
Okay, so you have audit the customer view, which is awesome. Anything else? All right, your kids are gone. So any relationship goals for this week with the kids being
that is a good question. I need
Thank
to
you.
make one. I'm gonna put that down, and I will have one tomorrow to add.
Cool. What about self-care? Right?
So I'm gonna hit that 5 workout again.
Okay.
I actually already cooked, so I've got my meals lined up. So it's eat the meals, do the 5 workouts, share the relationship goal, and do all the content.
Okay. Right. I like that. For
That's it.
me, I had a deal. I'm gonna use the word stall just because that's the word that I use. It sounds more aggressive than it actually is. They've decided that it's not the right time. They need to go do some stuff, which is
Okay.
fine, right? So it's not a no for forever. It's a no for now.
Okay.
So I have someone kind of waiting, right? Because one of the things that we've done that I've realized is like I need to do hiring and placements in smaller batches because I can only do so much at the same time. But I don't ever stop selling it. I'm just like, cool. If this is something that you're
Mhm.
interested in, I only
Yeah.
do 2 at a time. I have a
Mhm.
waiting list. Do you want to hit the waiting? Yeah, absolutely. As soon as a spot opens up, I want to hear about it. Okay, cool. Right. So since this person stalled, I'm going to the next person in the list this week. So
Okay.
the goal for that for this week would be to get that scoped out, conceptualized, booked, and done. Assuming that they're ready to move forward, that'll be the first task. So
Okay.
that's my work thing. Replace the thing that is not moving forward for right now. Um, Self-care wise, my sleep is all over the place. It is a complete shambles. The Whoop band is showing me just exactly how terrible my sleep habits are. So my
Okay.
goal this week is to instill a bedtime for myself to make sure that I'm just at least going to bed
And
and
routine.
waking up
Yeah.
at consistent times and then
Yep.
building the routines around those things.
Yep.
So that is going to be a thing about getting onto a track of that, making sure that like the other family stuff is all kind of in balance with that. And then for the relationship side of it is I don't have a good goal yet for the relationship side of it. So let me work on that. Like I'm feeling pretty abundant in my appreciation of like other people's, especially people in my community. The community seems to like have hit a new kind of level the past couple of
Mhm.
weeks as far as like interaction.
Mhm.
So I don't want to dream up a goal just to like say that I'm doing something difficult.
Okay.
But I feel like I'm doing a fairly decent job of being appreciative of my network and the people around me, my partners, and things like that.
Okay.
Um, so yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Topic for tomorrow then. We both need to think
yeah,
about it.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks to Gabe for showing up, and honestly, thanks to Gabe a lot because your people are able to see this on my LinkedIn and on Jake's LinkedIn because Gabe was able to help us out. So thank you so much for that, Gabe. Really, really, really helpful.
Yep.
Always helpful.
Yep.
Michelle, I hope you have a great week.
Mhm.
Let's see who else. Dean, super good to see you, my friend, my new friend.
Yep.
And yeah, this stands out as the
Disney guy.
yeah, yeah, Disney guy, Smokey number one.
All right.
So,
You
all
never
right,
know. Until
everybody. Today's my day of planning. Jake has got a bunch of work to do, so we're gonna get to it, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. We have a guest this Friday.
Oh
We're gonna
yeah.
cliffhang you though.
Yeah. You don't want to miss this one.
Yeah, you'll hear about it tomorrow. And if you're not there on Friday, you're gonna wish you were on Monday.
Yep.
Promise.
Yep.
So, all right, everybody. Have a good day, Bill. If you need anything, please let me know.
Sounds good.